My friend, listen carefully. For what I am about to tell you is not a coincidence. Right now, in this very moment of your life, God is preparing a new beginning for you. You may have walked through valleys of despair. You may have carried burdens so heavy that your spirit felt it would break under the weight. You may have endured nights where the silence was louder than any storm, but God has not forgotten you. The same God who set the stars in the heavens, the same God who parted seas and moved mountains is about to move in your life. And when God moves, no power in heaven or on earth can stop what He has decreed. There comes a time when yesterday cannot hold you anymore. There comes a time when the failures, the regrets, the brokenness, the tears of yesterday no longer define you. God is not a God of dead ends. He is the God of new doors, new paths, new mercies. The pain you endured was not in vain, for it has shaped you, prepared you, and brought you to this very hour where God Himself whispers, I am making all things new. You are not standing at the end. You are standing at the beginning of something you cannot yet see, but will soon testify about. Do not let despair fool you into believing that God has abandoned you. Sometimes the silence of God is not rejection, it is preparation. Sometimes when He closes a door, it is because He is building a gate you never imagined could be open. And while you think you are waiting on God, the truth is God is waiting on you. He is waiting for you to lift your eyes from the ashes of the past and fix them on the horizon of His promise. He is waiting for you to stop rehearsing your pain and start declaring His power. For God's promise is not tied to your past mistakes. It is anchored in His eternal will. How many times have you thought it was over? How many times did you tell yourself that this was the end of the road? Yet here you are still breathing, still standing, still fighting, and that is not chance. That is God. Every breath in your lungs is evidence that He is not finished with you yet. If He was done with you, you wouldn't be alive. But because you are alive, it means your story has not reached its conclusion. The author of your life is about to write a chapter that will make sense of the suffering, that will redeem the wasted years, that will turn the midnight tears into a sunrise of joy. You must understand this truth. God specializes in beginnings that are born from endings. He brings light out of darkness, hope out of despair, life out of death. He takes the broken and makes them whole. He takes the rejected and calls them chosen. He takes the forgotten and crowns them with favor. Do not measure your future by the failures of your past. God does not consult your past to decide your tomorrow. When He declares a new beginning, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop it. People, not circumstances, not even your own mistakes. Because God's mercy rewrites the script. And yes, there will be those who doubt it. There will be voices that whisper, you cannot change, you cannot rise, you cannot begin again. But those voices are lies born of fear and limitation. For when God decrees a new season, you do not need the approval of people. You do not need their validation. You do not need their applause. You only need the power of God. He will carry you. He will open the way. He will provide strength when yours has run dry. He will set before you opportunities that no man can shut. Some of you are carrying scars so deep that you believe they disqualify you. But let me tell you, your scars are not evidence of defeat. They are evidence of survival. They testify that you went through the fire, but the fire did not consume you. You went through the storm, but the storm did not drown you. And if God brought you through that, then surely He can carry you into a new tomorrow. The same hand that preserved you is the hand that will promote you. The same voice that calmed your storms is the voice that now calls you forward. God is about to breathe the new life into places you thought were dead. He is about to restore dreams you buried in the graveyard of disappointment. He is about to turn mourning into dancing, ashes into beauty, despair into hope. This is not just a motivational saying. This is the reality of God's power. His promise is not fragile. His word does not return void. When He says, behold, I am doing a new thing, then rest assured He will do it. Even if you cannot see it yet, trust that it is already unfolding. Seeds grow in silence before they break through the soil. God is working in the unseen before He manifests in the visible. You see, life is not about what you have lost. It is about what God is preparing to give. Sometimes He removes to replace. Sometimes He tears down to build stronger. Sometimes He allows endings to usher in beginnings. Stop holding on to what He has already released. Stop clinging to the doors He has shut. The longer you mourn what is gone, the longer you delay what is coming. God cannot fill hands that are already clenched around yesterday. Open your heart, open your spirit, and let God place in you the new beginning He has prepared. And yes, new beginnings require courage. You cannot step into tomorrow while your feet are still chained to yesterday. You must be willing to walk by faith, to take steps when you do not see the full staircase, to trust that if God said go, He has already gone before you to prepare the way. Faith is not waiting until everything makes. It is trusting God when nothing makes sense. And I tell you, there is no safer place to be than in the will of God. Even when it leads you into uncharted waters, this new beginning, it's not just about changing your circumstances. It is about transforming your heart. God does not simply want to adjust your surroundings. He wants to renew your mind, strengthen your spirit, ignite your faith. For what good is a new opportunity if your heart is still chained to fear? What good is a new season if your spirit is still haunted by doubt? God's new beginning starts on the inside. It begins when you dare to believe that He is greater than your struggle, stronger than your enemy, higher than your mountain. When you believe this, you are unstoppable because you are no longer walking in your own strength. You are walking in His. My friend, when God prepares a new beginning, it is not something small, ordinary, or shallow. It is not a minor adjustment to your circumstances. It is a divine reset of your destiny. God does not patch up broken pieces with weak glue. He makes all things new. He does not simply cover your past with a thin veil. He transforms your future with His mighty hand. That is why you cannot measure what God is about to do by what you see around you right now. You cannot define tomorrow by today's pain. God is greater than your present struggles, and His new beginning for you carries weight, authority, and eternal purpose. So many people miss the beauty of God's new beginning because they keep their eyes fixed on what they have lost instead of what God is preparing to give. But hear me clearly, your loss is not the end. Your loss may have been painful. It may have shaken you. It may have left scars. But your loss is also the soil from which God will grow something more glorious than you can imagine. God does not waste pain. He does not overlook tears. Every sleepless night, every silent cry, every heavy burden has been seen by God. And He has stored it as seed for the harvest that is now on its way. The harvest is always greater than the seed. What you sow in tears, you will reap in joy. God is about to bring you into a season where the weight of the past will no longer hold power over you. The guilt that tried to define you will lose its voice. The shame that changed your spirit will fall powerless at your feet. The fear that whispered lies into your mind will be silenced by the truth of God's word. For when God declares a new beginning, He also declares a new identity. You are not who you were yesterday. You are not what they said about you. You are not the mistakes you made. You are who God says you are. And His declaration outweighs every other opinion, every other judgment, every other label. But let me remind you, God's new beginning will demand your trust. It will not always look like what you expected. Sometimes the new beginning feels like an ending because it requires leaving behind comfort zones and familiar places. Think of it. God cannot take you into the land of promise if you insist on clinging to Egypt. He cannot show you the horizon of tomorrow if you keep staring at the ruins of yesterday. Trust is the bridge between where you are and where God is leading you. You must be willing to step into the unknown with faith, knowing that even if you cannot see the path, God is the one guiding your steps. When God says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing," it means He is preparing to surprise you. It means He is about to overturn the assumptions of people who thought they knew your story. It means He is about to set you apart in such a way that even your enemies will be forced to acknowledge the hand of God on your life. Do not limit God by your imagination. Do not reduce His promise to the size of your comfort. He is not a God of small measures. He is a God of abundance, a God of overflow, a God of greatness. When He opens the heavens, He pours out blessings that there is not even room enough to contain. You must also understand that God's new beginning is not always immediate in appearance. Sometimes it begins in silence. Sometimes it begins with small steps. Sometimes it begins beneath the surface where no one can see. But just because you cannot see it does not mean it is not happening. A seed buried in the soil is hidden, unseen, and silent. But it is alive. Growth is taking place in the unseen. Roots are forming. Strength is being built. Life is stirring. Then suddenly, when the appointed time arrives, the seed breaks forth through the ground for all to see. That is what God is doing in your life. Do not despise the hidden season. Do not despise the waiting season. For the longer the roots grow, the stronger the tree will stand. There is another truth. When God gives you a new beginning, it is not only for your sake. It is for His glory. Your testimony is not just a story about survival. It is a declaration of God's power. When He lifts you, it will not be so people can applaud you, but so they can see His greatness reflected in your life. That is why your new beginning will be undeniable. It will not be something that you can attribute to chance or luck or human effort. No, it will be so magnificent, so breathtaking, so miraculous that you will be able to say with conviction, this was God's doing. And let me tell you, when God begins to move, there is no force strong enough to stop Him. No power in the heavens, no scheme on earth, no opposition from people can hinder what He has decreed. The only thing that can dead work in your life is your unwillingness to believe. Doubt is the enemy of destiny. Fear is the thief of future. But faith unlocks the gates of God's promise. Even the smallest faith, if anchored in God, can shift mountains out of your path. You do not need to know how it will happen. You only need to know who is making it happen. Your future is not in the hands of your enemies. Your destiny is not determined by those who rejected you. Your new beginning is not dependent on the people who left you, the job you lost, or the opportunity that slipped away. Your future rests solely in the hands of God. And those hands are mighty, faithful, and unshakable. If He could bring light out of darkness, if He could bring order out of chaos, if He could bring life out of nothing, then surely He can bring a new beginning out of your situation. When God marks the beginning of a new season in your life, it is not to return you to where you once were. It is to elevate you beyond what you could have achieved by your own strength. A true new beginning from God does not simply restore what was lost. It multiplies, it magnifies, it enlarges. God never takes you backward. He always moves you forward, even when it seems like you've been stripped of everything. Even when you feel empty and broken, and know that the emptiness is only making room for the abundance He is preparing to pour into your life. When your hands are empty, they are finally free to receive. This is why you cannot fear endings. Endings are painful, yes, but they are also necessary. A seed must first die in the ground before it can spring forth into new life. So too, some chapters of your life must close before the next can be opened. And although endings bring sorrow, they are also God's way of clearing space for the new. The door that shut was not rejection. It was protection. The path that was blocked was not punishment, it was redirection. What you call loss, God calls preparation. He is moving you away from what cannot carry you in the destiny He has prepared. God's new beginning is not random, it is deliberate. He does not act without purpose. Every step, every turn, every acceleration, it all flows from His divine plan. He sees the road ahead when all you see is the dust of the present. He knows what dangers lie in paths you thought were best for you. He knows what blessings are hidden in directions you never considered. And when He orchestrates a new beginning, it is always for your good. Even if it looks uncertain, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it challenges you to let go of everything you know, trust that God is weaving together a story greater than you could ever write for yourself. But understand this, God's new beginning is not about comfort. It is about transformation. He does not lead you into a new season so you can stay the same. He calls you forward so that you may rise higher, walk stronger, life deeper in faith. He wants to break chains of fear that once held you back. He wants to strip away the doubts that clouded your vision. He wants to replace weakness with strength, despair with hope, and sorrow with joy. God's new beginning is not a small adjustment. It is a revolution in your life. It is a shift so powerful that you cannot remain who you once were. And do not be surprised if this new beginning demands separation. There are people, habits, and patterns that cannot follow you where God is leading. Not everyone who started with you can go with you. Not every friendship is meant for the next chapter. Not every environment is designed for your growth. God, in His wisdom, removes what would hinder your destiny, even if it hurts to let go. Do not cling to what He is pruning away. If He is taking it out of your life, it is because it cannot survive the light of your new season. Trust Him even in the losses, because they are not losses. They are divine exchanges. When God opens a new door, you will know it is Him, because it will bear the mark of peace. Not the absence of trials, not the absence of challenges, but the presence of His undeniable hand upon it. You will feel His strength lifting you, His wisdom guiding you, His favor surrounding you. What seemed impossible will become attainable. Seemed distant will come within reach. What was once locked will open with ease. Not because of your effort, but because of His authority. Remember, God says yes. No force can say no. Let me speak directly to your heart. Some of you have been walking in circles, stuck in cycles of disappointment, chained to the memories of past failures. You have been asking, when will it change? When will it be different? Hear me now. The cycle ends when you surrender fully to God's will. Your new beginning is not unlocked by striving. It is unlocked by trusting. It is not about forcing doors open. It is about allowing God to lead you to the door He has already prepared. Stop exhausting yourself trying to fix what only God can restore. Stop carrying burdens that were never meant for your shoulders. Lay it all down and let God lift you into the season He has appointed for you. And when He does, your life will not only change, it will shine. God does not give you a new beginning for you to hide it. He gives it so your life becomes a testimony, a living example of His goodness, His mercy, His power. People who once doubted you will see what God has done. Those who mocked you in your valley will watch as He sets your feet on a mountain. Those who thought it was over for you will witness the glory of God rising from your life, not so they can exalt you, but so they can recognize the greatness of the one who lifted you. Never forget your new beginning is proof that God is faithful. Even when you failed, He remains steadfast. Even when you doubted, He remained sure. Even when you turned away, He remained near. That is why this new season is not something you earn. It is something you receive. God's mercy writes over your mistakes. His compassion covers your shortcomings. His power redeems your wasted years. He takes what you thought was gone forever and breathes life into it once more. When God is about to give you a new beginning, He does not whisper it timidly into the corner of your life. He declares it with power. He signals a shift that rattles the chains of yesterday and breaks open the doors of tomorrow. And when God declares something, all of creation responds. The winds obey. The seas part, the mountains tremble, and the valleys rise. So why should you doubt that He can transform your life? Why should you think that your past failures, your hidden fears, your overwhelming obstacles are too great for the Almighty? If He commands the universe, surely He can command a fresh start for you. The truth is, God's new beginning for your life is often disguised as disruption. It doesn't always appear gentle or calm at first. It shakes what must be shaken. It uproots what cannot remain. It unsettles what has grown stagnant. Because God is not interested in you building a future on a cracked foundation. He will tear down what is unstable so He can rebuild you on a rock that cannot be moved. So when everything around you feels like it is collapsing, do not assume it is destruction. It may very well be the hand of God clearing the ground for something stronger, purer, greater than what stood before. Do not forget, God has always been a God of beginnings. From the very dawn of time, He spoke into the chaos and birthed order. He looked at emptiness and filled it with light. He looked at formlessness and shaped it with beauty. That same God has not changed. He looks at the chaos in your life and speaks order. He looks at the void in your heart and fills it with His presence. He looks at the broken pieces of your past and crafts them into something glorious. This is who God is, the one who creates something out of nothing, who brings life out of what seems hopeless. But to walk into a new beginning, you must let go of the illusion that you control everything. Too many people miss the move of God because they refuse to release their grip on the old. They try to drag yesterday into tomorrow, but God says, release it. You cannot carry old baggage into a new season. You cannot drag broken relationships, toxic habits, bitter attitudes, and heavy regrets into the fresh work God is trying to do. He calls you to lay it down, to trust Him, to walk forward unburdened. And yes, it is hard to let go. Yes, it is painful to surrender. But what you release into God's hands, He transforms into something far greater than what you cling to. God's new beginning is not fragile. It is unstoppable. It is not dependent on human approval or worldly systems. When He decides to lift you, there is no authority high enough to block it. When He decides to heal you, no sickness is strong enough to resist it. When He decides to bless you, no curse, no opposition, no enemy can withhold it. For God does not negotiate with creation. He commands it, and His command is final. That is why you can walk into your new beginning with boldness, not trembling, not because of who you are, but because of who God is. And yet, God will test your faith as He ushers you into this new chapter. Do not be surprised if the path forward looks narrow. If it feels like the ground beneath you is unfamiliar. For faith is not proven in comfort, it is proven in trust. God will call you to step even when you cannot see the full way. He will call you to believe even when the evidence around you says otherwise. He will call you to declare His promise even when your reality has not yet caught up. This is how you partner with God's new beginning, not by sight, but by faith. And those who walk by faith see doors open that the world swore were forever locked. Your new beginning may come with resistance. The enemy does not rejoice when God elevates you. There will be whispers of doubt. There will be obstacles. There will be distractions designed to pull you back into the old. But remember this, the presence of resistance is often proof that breakthrough is near. You don't fight battles over empty ground. You fight battles over valuable territory. The struggle you feel right now is not because God has abandoned you. It is because the enemy knows God is about to establish you. Stand firm. Do not retreat, for the God who begins a new work in you will also defend it. And never underestimate the timing of God. What feels delayed to you is right on schedule with Him. He is not bound by your deadlines. And He is not late. He is deliberate, intentional, precise. He waits until the moment that will bring the greatest glory to His name and the greatest strength to your spirit. While you think nothing is happening, He is aligning pieces you cannot see, preparing hearts you do not know, orchestrating circumstances you cannot control. And when the fullness of time arrives, what seemed impossible will unfold effortlessly before your eyes. When God speaks a new beginning into your life, it does not come with a whisper of uncertainty. It comes with a thunder of divine authority. His word does not tremble. It stands firm and unshakable. When God says, I am making all things new, there is no force on earth or in the heavens that can reverse His decree. And this is why your heart must rise with confidence, not in your own strength, but in the certainty that the Almighty is at work. The same God who called light out of the darkness is calling you out of despair, out of limitation, out of fear, into a dawn that no night can overcome. But do not miss this truth. God's new beginning is not just about change on the outside. It is about transformation on the inside. Many people want God to change their circumstances while they remain unchanged within. Yet the true new beginning starts in the heart. God is not merely rearranging the furniture of your life. He is building a brand new foundation. He's reshaping your character, refining your faith, deepening your trust. Because unless the heart is renewed, any new season will eventually collapse under the weight of old patterns. So allow Him not only to open new doors, but also to renew your spirit so that you may walk through them with wisdom. There are moments when God's new beginning feels like wilderness. You may not see the full picture. You may only see a step ahead. But remember, God is not calling you to see everything. He is calling you to trust Him in everything. The wilderness is not abandonment, it is preparation. In the wilderness, you learn to depend not on your own strength, but on His provision. In the wilderness, you discover that when all else is stripped away, God is enough. And once you learn this truth, no challenge, no storm, no enemy can shake you. Because you know that if God sustained you in lack, He will sustain you in abundance. Your new beginning may also require patience. God's timing is often different from ours. We want everything now, immediately without delay. But God is never rushed and He's never late. He's precise, deliberate, perfect in His timing. What seems like delay is often the hand of God preparing the ground, aligning the people, and setting the stage for your breakthrough. Just as a tree does not bear fruit in its first season of planting, so too your life must endure seasons of quiet growth before the visible harvest comes. Do not mistake silence for inactivity. God works in hidden places long before He reveals His work in public view. Do not think that your failures disqualify you from God's new beginning. If that were true, none of us would ever rise again. God is not limited by your past. He redeems it. He takes the very mistakes you thought ruined you and turns them into stepping stones for your future. What others meant for harm, God will use for good. What seemed like a setback will be revealed as a setup. Do not let shame bind you to yesterday. God's mercy is greater than your mistakes and His power is stronger than your regrets. If He has declared a new season over your life, then your past cannot dictate your tomorrow. When God opens a new beginning, He does so with purpose. He does not elevate you so you can boast in yourself. He lifts you so you can reflect His glory. Your new season is meant to be a testimony to others that if God could do it for you, He can do it for them. Do not hide what He has done. Declare it boldly. Let your life be a living sermon, a beacon of hope for those still trapped in their own midnight hour. For when God blesses you, it is never just about you. It is about the countless lives your story will inspire. But here is what you must understand. New beginnings demand new faith. You cannot enter tomorrow with yesterday's level of trust. You must grow. You must stretch. You must dare to believe God for more than you have ever asked before. Faith, if not active, it is active. It is unrelenting. It refuses to let fear dictate the narrative. It stands firm even when the ground shakes. It proclaims God's promise even before the evidence arrives. And when you walk with such faith, you align yourself with the very power that spoke the universe into being. There will be opposition. There will be voices that mock your hope, that tell you nothing can change, that remind you of all the times you failed. But let those voices be silenced by the truth of God's word. For if God has spoken, that is all that matters. People may doubt, enemies may resist, even your own heart may waver. But God remains faithful. He has never broken His word, and He never will. Hold on to His promise as tightly as you hold on to your breath, for His word is life itself. And when the new beginning comes, and it will come, you will look back and understand why the delays were necessary, why the struggles were permitted, why the losses had to happen. You will see that every tear watered the soil of your testimony. You will see that every disappointment shaped your endurance. You will see that every detour was actually a straight line in God's greater plan. And you will lift your hands not in pride, but in knowing that only God could have written such a story. When God sets His hand upon your life for a new beginning, it is never a half measure. It is not a temporary patch or a fleeting glimpse of hope. It is a complete shift, a transformation that alters the very trajectory of your existence. God does not bring you out just to leave you wandering. He brings you out to establish you, to plant you, to crown you with a future that reflects His greatness. What God begins, He sustains. What He opens, He protects. What He promises, He fulfills. And when He calls you into a new season, it is not to tease your heart, but to fulfill His word. You must understand, a new beginning with God is not an escape. It is an elevation. He does not pull you out of a pit so you can return to the same valley. He raises you so that you can stand on higher ground. And from that higher ground, you see what you could not see before. From that new height, the obstacles that once intimidated you become small in comparison to His power. This is why your perspective must shift. Your eyes must be trained not on the dust of the ground, but on the horizon of His promise. For as high as the heavens are above the earth, so are God's thoughts above yours, and so are His ways beyond your ways. But do not forget, God's new beginning often requires the surrender of the old. You cannot enter into tomorrow still carrying yesterday's chains. You cannot embrace what God is placing in your hands if your fists are clenched around what He is trying to remove. Some of you are holding on to bitterness, replaying old wounds, rehearsing old betrayals, and yet asking God for something new. Let me tell you, with love and boldness, you cannot walk into your new season carrying the poison of the past. Release it. Place it into God's hands. Trust Him enough to let go so that He can replace your sorrow with joy, your bitterness with peace, your despair with hope. God's new beginning also comes with fresh responsibility. With every blessing comes stewardship. With every door He opens comes a call to walk in faithfulness. You cannot treat His gift lightly. He is not giving you a new chapter so you can live in the same old patterns. He is lifting you so that your life can be a reflection of His holiness, His strength, His mercy. To whom much is given, much is required. And when God entrusts you with a new beginning, He calls you to walk with integrity, to live with humility, to shine with courage, so that others may see His light through you. And let me assure you, God's new beginning is not fragile. It cannot be stolen by envy. It cannot be destroyed by opposition. It cannot be dismantled by the schemes of men. What God has ordained cannot be overturned. His decree is final. His word unshakable. His promise unbreakable. The world may rise against you. Voices may shout in resistance. Enemies may plot in the shadows. But all their efforts will collapse before the authority of God's command. If He has said you will rise, then rise you shall. If He has said you will be free, then freedom is already breaking forth. If He has said you will begin anew, then your tomorrow is already written in His book. This is why you cannot afford to doubt. Doubt is a thief. It robs you of courage. It blinds your vision. It weakens your resolve. But faith is the key that unlocks the gates of your new beginning. Faith is the bridge between the promise and the fulfillment. Faith is what takes God at His word, even when your eyes see no evidence. And I tell you this, even a flicker of faith, when anchored in the greatness of God, is more powerful than the loudest roar of fear. Do not despise your small faith. Offer it to God and watch Him multiply it into strength you did not know you possessed. Your journey into a new beginning may be marked by tests. Do not be alarmed by them. Tests are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to reveal the strength God has placed within you. Just as fire refines His gold, trials refine your faith. Just as storms reveal the strength of a tree's roots, challenges reveal the depth of your trust in God. Every test is evidence that God is preparing you for more. Every obstacle is an opportunity for your faith to grow. Every resistance is a signal that your destiny is worth fighting for. Do not shrink back in the face of trials. Stand firm, for the one who called you is faithful. And never forget, God's new beginning is not about erasing your story. It is about redeeming it. He will take the very chapters you wish you could tear out and use them as testimony. He will turn your pain into purpose, your scars into symbols of survival, your weakness into platforms of His strength. Nothing is wasted in the hands of God. Every tear, every struggle, every detour, it all becomes part of a greater narrative, one that points not to your greatness, but to His. My friend, hear this with every fiber of your being. Your story is not ending in defeat. It is beginning in victory. God is not finished with you. He's the author of your life, and He never leaves a page incomplete. What He has started, He will bring to completion. What He has promised, He will fulfill. What He has spoken, He will bring to pass. Do not let the darkness of yesterday blind you to the sunrise of tomorrow, for God is already at work in your life. This is not the time to shrink back. This is not the time to surrender, to fear. This is the time to rise, to trust, to believe with unshakable confidence that the Almighty is guiding your steps. God is your shield, your strength, your deliverer, and your guide. If He says a new beginning is coming, then you can stand firm, knowing it is already written in His plan. The doors that were shut will open. The chains that bound you will fall. The weight that crushed you will lift. And the sorrow that once drowned you will be replaced with joy that overflows. Walk forward boldly, for you are walking with God. Do not look back at the ruins of the past, for your future is not behind you, it is ahead. Do not fear the unknown, for God already knows. Do not doubt His power, for His power never fails. Step into this new beginning with courage, with faith, with hope burning in your heart, because the one who made heaven and earth has declared it so. The page is turning, the chapter is shifting, the story is unfolding, and it is God Himself who is writing the next line of your trust Him. Follow Him, surrender to Him, and you will see with your own eyes what only He can do. A new beginning has been spoken over you. And when God declares it, nothing in creation can stand against it. Your tomorrow is secure. Your path is prepared, and your victory is certain.